moving into the gaming space, I started off as a UI UX designer, and that was like way back in 2020. So I already had a solid foundation in the principal UI UX design. There's like creating screens for mobile apps, creating screens for websites. So all of those skill actually, laid the foundation for me because I already understood what UI was. I already understood what UX means. All has to do with creating visuals and making it usable and for users as well. It's the same thing. It's just more like applying those same rules I already learned in the UI UX part of things into gaming. Basically, creating interface for immersive gaming experience. So yeah, so first off, what is game UI UX? What does game UI UX really mean? So a lot of persons do confuse game UI UX to just making buttons and making screen looks good and all of that. It's way deeper than that. And so yeah, game UI is like everything the player interacts with visually. So if you're if you launch a game, let's say you open a mobile game on your phone, so everything you interact with visually from the menus, the health bar, the inventory, the modals, pop-up, icons, buttons, all of that is the game UI, basically the game user interface. And the UX part is how this thing actually feels, how intuitive and satisfying you can, as a player, interact with this game, with this product. That's the UX part of it. So you navigating from, okay, you're launching a game from the onboarding screen, you're going to the menu. For some games, you have levels, you're playing level one. From level one, you're entering the game, you're making moves, you get to course. All of those experience, it's what we call the game UX, right? So the game user experience. So if you've ever played game, where you get to click, 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 and all of that. So basically, from the clicking, from the button you're seeing to the interaction with it, that is a UI UX thing. Okay, so how to build skills and portfolio. How to build like starting out. Okay, I want to be a BIM UI UX designer. How do I start? And how do I build a portfolio? Because at the end of the day, the reason you're getting to learn all of those skills is to, implement it in the real world, work on products, get hired, and all of that. So to get started, the first thing is to focus on learning the right tool. So the right tool, once you're able to master the right tool, that's the first step. Understanding these tools. And like I said, for me, already before I transitioned into gaming, I was pretty good with UI UX. I was already good with creating mobile apps and all of that. So for me, I started out using Figma, and trust me, it was out of passion for gaming because my whole career was like, because when I got into the tech space, there was a whole lot going on. There was a lot of UI UX designer, because trust me, if you search on X UI UX designer from Nigeria, you would see over 1,000. There's a lot of UI UX designer. And for this particular nature, like how do I stand out? Like how do I even survive the job market? Where left, right, up, down, there's UI UX designer. So how do I tend to stand out? And I just wanted to be different. And then I already loved game. Like growing up, I played games, analyzing game. I've played a whole lot of games. I'm like, these games, this is something that someone actually, designed. And then I was like, okay, let me just try with my skill and see what I could come up with. And then I think I hopped on Drew Challenge then, and Drew shared a couple of resources then on gaming. Then I never even knew what game UI UX was. I never even knew it was called. There was a thing called game UI UX. I was just like, then I was like, okay, I'm a game designer. So game design is totally different. For you to be a game designer, you're doing the development part of it, the coding part of it. But when it comes to just the UI building interface and the experience, it's called game UI UX. So starting out, I never really knew what this was. I was like, okay. Then I was just like Then there's a platform, I'm going to share it. It's more like a Behance. I think we creative designers, UI designers, you're familiar with Behance, Dribble, Mobin. So there's a website interface in game. I'm going to type it on the chat. So this website has existing screens of a lot of game. Like existing games, they have the UI screen and it's well arranged and broken down into different segments from the menu. If you're looking for loading screens, you're looking for menu, in-game screen, this platform has all of it. So it was interface in game and game UI database. Those two sites were what I was using. I'll just go there, look for a UI, I bring it onto Figma, and I start replicating. Then I was pretty good with the tool, so I knew how to navigate my way around it, and I was pretty good with Photoshop as well. So when it comes to assets in terms of environments and characters, I would go to ArtStation. And ArtStation is also a portfolio for game UI designers and 3D artists. 3D artists, 2D artists, for environment, characters, you can visit ArtStation. But then again, if you're making a post online, do well to give credits to these people because it's actually their portfolio. So then I'll go on to ArtStation, pick a picture, pick what is it called, a background, an environment, merge it with Photoshop. I was pretty good, with finding my ways around those tools, imported into Figma, and I was just designing. I didn't even know my left from my right. I didn't even know if I was doing it correctly. I didn't even know if Figma was the right tool. But all I knew was I was just designing, and I was posting my whole process on Twitter because starting out, Twitter has always been my go-to platform in showcasing what I'm working on. And I did share a couple of screens on LinkedIn as well. So my portfolio starting out, I think before my portfolio was more of like, personal projects from there's one design I have on my portfolio, Vikings inspired game or like an RPG game. That was a personal, exploration. And one day I just got an offer. Someone reached out to me. They wanted to build a game and the pay was quite good doing my thing. I wasn't even job hunting. I wasn't even looking for a job. I was just, practicing. That's when I did now reach out to people. And like, see, I got this offer. This, how do I, because I didn't want to mess up. Then they started putting because I was so confused. Like, am I the one to create? Premier exercise. So it's always a transition from the principal UI UX to the gaming part of it. So that was when I actually started learning there's things they call art style. Okay, so building a game, you have to now work with an artist. You work with the artist that provides the environment. If it's a game that has character, you work with someone else that have the character. then you collaborate with developer, and it's the whole process of creating a game. It's really, really crazy. But once you understand it, it's very, very easy. Because I think some process you get to the developer creates the level design first, and then um before the UI UX design comes in. For most of the projects I've worked on, I create the interface and everything while the dev is working on game mechanics. And later they have to import my what I've designed from Figma to the game engine. So there's what we call game engine. So for mobile games, Unity engine is more suitable for mobile games because it enables lower end devices to be able to run this game smoothly. But for console game, PC games, uh, you make use of Unreal Engine. So all of this, it was when I got an actual job, an actual offer. That's when I got to learn all of this. I'm like, okay, oh, so this is how you do it. This is how you do it. I'm like, okay. So that was when I started doing things the right way. Because then I was just designing. There was no structure. Just basically me playing around with shape and coming up with cool screens. But then it was always because then I'll just post on next. I was getting a whole lot of you know positive comments. This looks good. This looks sick. But then again, I was not getting real feedback on okay, this is how it should look. This is how because starting out, I did not meet a person. I'm like, okay, this person is already like a top game UI designer in the space, and I'm reaching out directly. So over the years of my career, I think recently now, between last year and this year, I'm starting to meet a whole lot of game UI designer. And yeah, shout out to Busayo. She's also a game UI designer and she's on this call. So I started connecting, but then I connected with more of developers. And yeah, there is Compiler, he's also on this call. He's a game dev. I've worked on a couple of projects with him, you know. So after that, I and starting out your career as a game UI designer, you should connect with a lot of game developers. I wasn't really opportune to be part of communities, but I would advise to be part of a game development community. And I think DevByte already has one. And yeah, Chika, I would appreciate if you can drop the group link or something on the chat so other persons from X here can join. Be part of a because something crazy really happened when I connected with Shegun Koka. Shegun Koka is a game dev, a fantastic game dev here in Nigeria, and they worked on the first version of the Akian Popo game. So they wanted to do a redesign of the whole game because the game was released and there was high demands on the game, so they needed to upscale, do something better than the first version. And Koka referred me to Blue Portal. Blue Portal, they're the publisher of the game. He referred me to them. I'm like, yeah, Gideon should work on this. It's really good. And they reached out to me. I got on the project, and then I was looking for more live projects to be on my portfolio because at the end of the day, these are things that clients want to see. And they say, okay, have you worked on a project that have gone live? And I believe this is a similar experience on people in the UI UX space. There are some clients that be like, okay, have you worked on an application that's live? Have you worked on a web app? They want to see how competent you are, not just fancy portfolio. They want to say, okay, this is what you did. This is what you did. So it was through the connection I had with a game developer that got me the gig, the Akan football game that I worked on. And I worked on it. The clients loved it. Everyone loved the game. And the game is currently live. You can check it out. It's live on App Store and on Play Store. So yeah, breaking into the industry, you need to connect with more developers, join communities. These were things I was not really, opportune to be part of. I didn't really join a lot of communities, and I think there's a very useful community on Discord, UI Pips, and I think it's strictly for game UI UX designer, UI artists basically. They get to do monthly challenge. They give out tasks, and I've not really been very very active there because I'm always busy with work and all of that. But starting out, if you want to start out and sharpen your skill, learn more, UI Pips, it's a very very good community that I recommend for anyone. And yeah, post your work online, post your progress. You don't have to wait for it to be perfect or for it to be finished. I think that's one thing we creators always have a problem with. They're like, "Ah, does this look good? Does this?" But just post it. It's a free world. Let's just have it there online. Let people know, okay, this is what you're doing. And this was something I did too. And lucky for me, I got an offer with zero experience shipping any game. Client just saw my work, and they're like, "This look good." I even had a very funny experience where uh a company reached out to me and they gave me a test. It was a paid test to design just a couple of screens for an African inspired game. And I just thought of that. I said, okay, let me build more like a battle royale kind of thing. I just came up with an interface. It's on my portfolio in Yanja. That was the game I just designed. I just designed that. And when I presented this to this man, the man was like, wow, they cannot pay me because they were looking for an intern or something that this beats their expectation. In my head, I'm like, "Ah, this is something I just do on a normal, on a very good day. Just tell me it's okay. Come up this. I'm already moving shapes here and there and coming up with something. So posting your work online is a very very good thing, and I can testify to that. You don't have to wait for it to be perfect because there's no such thing like a perfect design. Because at the end of the day, for design, whatever design you're coming up with, you have to build mood boards. And these mood boards consist of existing design. So you just pick ideas from yeah. Try to, replicate what they're having or try to tweak it and come up with yours. That's how it is. Just perfect, not perfect, just post it, get feedbacks. And once you get this feedback, implement it in your next design. I've got a couple of persons that trying to not even trying, they're already doing good in the learning and all of that. They're even getting offers as well in the gaming space. They do reach out to me like, this is check this out on my free time because I'm always busy. On my free time, I just do okay. Sometimes I won't offer to hop on a call with them, just walk through what they already have. So posting your work and yeah, be active on dev communities. You have to be active once you're dropping tasks. If you know you want to take the space serious and actually make impact, get noticed, and all of that. And yeah, so common challenge that we creators encounter in the gaming space. So one of the biggest challenge we do face is feeling stuck. Sometimes you just feel like you're designing and you're not getting feedback. When you're not working on an actual project, you're just trying to explore and sharpen your skill. Get to some point and you just feel stuck. Okay, how do I move from this? How do I, sometimes I don't know if everyone else here have similar experience. You're just designing something and the design is not designing to you. It's not looking good. You might ask someone else, and like, okay, this looks good, but deep down you're still not there. You're not getting what you want. So what I'll say is, don't just design. Don't just design anything. Think like a player. You have to think like, because at the end of the day, those products you're not building it for yourself. You're building it for people to play, to interact with. So you have to think like a player. Can they find what they need in 2 clicks? If you need to move from year to year, you know, can they actually play this game without extensively watching a tutorial? No, okay, let me know use the word play because sometimes when you're playing games and some level feels difficult, you just go online to like navigating rather. For a player to navigate from the onboarding screen down to the in game, is this something that they will find really, really difficult? The player has to struggle to look for buttons, or your layout, your arrangement makes it easier for them. And yeah, learn the fundamentals of UX thinking. That's user experience thinking. You should learn the fundamental. And I think this is where the whole foundation of the UI UX, skill I already had helped me because UX thinking is user experience. Okay, you need to think like the user. You get, and don't just copy blindly. I know a lot of person just you come up with a mood board. It's looking nice, it's looking fine, and you're designing your own. Don't just design blindly. Don't just put a button here because you saw your mood board button. They have it here. You need to understand, why did this designer have this button here? Why is this button here? You analyze and you improve. The designer can even be making a terrible choice, but then again, you analyzing this game. Okay, if I need to, and why do you have you asked yourself this question? Sometimes on a lot of games that have to, you get to move direction and all that, you get to, in playing the game, the in game, you have to, movements, make movements. This for mobile games on, why is the direction button always on the left? Have you asked yourself that question? Even though there's a lot of, left-handed persons and, right-handed persons as well, but why is it that most times the direction button, not even most times, I think all the games I've seen, the direction button is always on the left hand side, and be it combat or every other button is on the right hand side. Don't just copy because, okay, this design they have it here, let me have my own here. You need to understand why this button is on this part of it, so that it makes movement easier. Because you need to think like the user. Imagine yourself. That's why Figma has a prototype feature that's good, in as much as, okay, you cannot actually interact with it like an actual game, but then again, you can have a preview on your mobile phone or tablet, depending on the device you're using, and try having your direction button on the right hand side and see how uncomfortable it feels. So do not just copy design as, okay, I said, because I made mention of, okay, you go on interface and game or game UI database and see existing game that design and try to replicate. Don't just replicate design. Understand why this is this. Understand why the pause button is here. Understand why the user profile is here. Understand why the menu button is here. So yeah, to stand out, show that you understand how your design impacts gameplay. Show how your UI improves onboarding. Show how your design gets to keep player engaged and makes things easier to understand. And finally, do not rush. Do not rush your design. I know that everyone wants to go viral. Everyone wants to get hired quickly. There's one thing about we created, because I understand how this part, excuse me, sorry. I understand how this part of the world is. Everyone needs money. Everyone is looking for money. Everyone is hustling, because at the end of most of us are into this tech to, like, not just learn a skill, but also make money, put food on our table. But do not rush it. It's a process. You do not get to jump on game UI design now today, and next month you're looking at getting hired. It doesn't work that way. You need to strive for perfection. You need to put in the work and, like, okay, how do I want to I want to do XYZ. You know, you need to do not rush it. Try to be good at what you're doing. Try to be good at your own craft first before moving. Before even start applying for jobs or start making posts online, you're job hunting before even reaching out, because most some in some cases you might actually get an offer. And what happens when you mess it up, when you're unable to, meet up with the task, just because you do not have enough skill or you haven't practiced enough. So do not rush the whole process. Reach out to people ahead of you in the space. It doesn't have to be me, but yeah, my DM is always open. You can reach out to me anytime. Okay, I have XYZ challenge. How do I pass this? How do I get this done? But trying to, you're already in this and you're already thinking money, you won't go far. And this is one thing I always tell creative, starting out like from nothing, you've not gained any tech experience, anything design. I tell them, once you're getting into tech, just put your mind off money for next 1 to 2 years. Offers can come, fine and good. I'm not saying you can't get offers, but that shouldn't be what your interest is built on. You should be more interested in how you can, you know, upskill, how you can do better. Even top companies, top game publishers like Activision and the rest, they do make mistakes too on their game. I think there's a very terrible experience I'm having as a player on FIFA 25. There's a very terrible user experience, and that has to do with the formation session before you start the actual game, the formation screen. Because how can a user try to? I'm trying to make a substitution. I cannot change my formation without my opponent and I being on the same screen. Their previous release from FIFA 24 downwards, it was better. It didn't have this, experience. But me, this is something I was able to solve because I could think as a player and I already had the skill. Because for this game to be immersive, I should be able to make my football substitution without it being tied to my opponent. So for me to actually make my formation, make substitutions, set everything, you know, individual tactics and all, my opponent and I need to be on the same screen on the formation section. And it's a very, very terrible user experience. So these are things that you can spot and you can just I've always I've had it in mind to on something that could fix this problem or how I feel it should be made better. But I've not just had the time. So you can anyone here can just take down, just try to build something, work on something around it. I believe we'll have a couple of persons here that FIFA football lovers, and they can attest to the same um issue FIFA 25 has, where you cannot make a substitution alone without your opponent making being on the same screen with you. So yeah, and I want to say I'm gonna end with this. If you're listening to this and you do thinking, or maybe you're already in the gaming space, you're trying to upskill, trying to learn more and all, and you do feel okay, I'm not good enough, I'm not good yet. Trust me, you're not alone. I started out just redesigning things I saw you know, online, but by showing up, sharing your work and learning. That's how I built my whole career. That's how I started. And you have to be passionate about what you're doing, not just doing things. You have to have passion for this. Because having passion for what you're doing is what would make you want to move further. Is what would make you want to strive for perfection. Because if you're not passionate about something, you can just wake up, I beg, they not send me work. Maybe my papa gets this one. But then again, when you're passionate about something, you would always want to put in the work. You always want to show up. Post your work online. Nobody, it's your page. It's a free world. No one is going to hurt you. Just post it. It looks good to you. It doesn't. Post, ask for feedback. Reach out to people. My DM is always open. You can reach out to me. You can tag me to your work. I don't mind. You can tag me to your work. I'll give my take. If it looks good, I'll drop a response. I'll drop a feedback. Okay, this looks good. If there are ways I feel it can be made better, I would also suggest it to you. So yeah. And thanks once again, DevByte, for having me on this session and getting to speak to every amazing person here. Thank you very much. So yeah,
Thank you
I'm
so
open
much,
to
Gideon.
questions. If you've got any questions, you can request for the mic, and I think our host here would have you up and you can throw your questions at me. I'm happy to have them answered.
Thank you so much, Gideon, for that one. So I believe we have one or two questions for Gideon. So if you have some questions, just indicate so that we'll bring you up. Okay. Uh, Okon I've invited you to speak. Are you there? You will come with us. Uh, okay, who else has a question? Mm, So we want to assume that we all understood everything and we don't have questions. Okay. Okay, if we don't have, okay, go on.
My question is like I've always been thinking I might not be a game a fanatic, but I like the whole concept of games. I like watching people playing games and all of that. And for me, the line of my work, I tend to have unlimited access to my work computer alongside uninterrupted Wi-Fi service. But I tend not to know. I've always have interest. I don't know where to pick up from. I don't know where to start from. I really keep telling myself I have to utilize my access to a laptop and free internet space to the fullest. But I'm always being stuck. I've tried diving into all manner of stuff here and there, cybersecurity, and even this UI UX. I've also made an attempt before to start, but the whole thing looks very confusing from the onset. I don't really know where to pitch my tent. So I would like to know a kind of a step-by-step approach. Where exactly do I begin my journey from? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Austin. For question is in line of okay, how do you start? Basically, where do you put yourself in? You have a whole lot of technical skills to your disposal that you can actually pick from. You made mention of cybersecurity and UI UX as well. So I think for me, the whole thing has to start with interest. You should not pick something just because maybe someone else is doing it or everyone else is doing it. It all has to do with interest. Sometimes it might not be, or something you decide for yourself. It might not be all clear or something like, okay, I'm certain this is what I want to do. I'm certain this where I want to be. This I want to build on this. I think for me, starting out into going into design at first, it was all my mom's idea. I didn't even know. I was just having preparing for my SSC examination, and then she was like, she just wanted her son to have something doing, and that's how I started as a graphic designer. From there, interest built interest in designing. I loved designing. I wanted to learn more. Then moved from graphic design to branding. Moved into brand designing. UI UX, and from UI UX, and then I developed passion for gaming. And I already now I now like find my purpose. All has to do with discovery, knowing your purpose. Okay, yeah, I want to. Some of us in this space, are doing one or two things because of um money, because we want to get money. Some of us are doing this out of love, out of passion, and trying to make impact one way or the other. So yeah, for me, I'm going to use myself as a reference. Being in the gaming space, it goes beyond just making money. It goes beyond just wanting money. It's about making impact for me. And I see the gaming space as a space that I can actually make impact to the fullest, from moving and pushing. One of my core vision and mission here is to put Nigeria and Africa at large in the global map of gaming, because a lot of the whole world, when they're talking about gaming, they're not they don't tend to be in Africa. But if you're talking about agriculture, yeah, people, the first thing that comes to people's mind is, yeah, Africa. Africa is a good place. But I want people to see Africans in terms of the gaming, the tech space, not just as consumers, but as creators as well. Because I've worked on some gaming projects, and I've even worked with some gaming companies, and sometimes my team members are Nigerians and they are doing excellently well. So it all has to do with interest. What do you love doing? Like I said, you don't have to have it figured out all at once. You don't have to. It's not something that just comes in. But then when you try to do this, just try to get your hands on a couple of things. Then maybe you can find one interesting. If it's UI UX, you can start out by, I think for principal UI UX, there's a lot of course there. There are courses on Coursera, Udemy, even OutSchool. You can even be part of, you can start out, okay, maybe you don't want to spend resources that much just starting out. You can join one or two communities, see how things, there's a lot of tech skill. You can even, for me, people that are looking for, like, they're just reach out, I want just, they want to make money and all that. This design thing, because the whole process, it's crazy. It's not easy, because at first you have to learn the skill. After learning the skill, you have to prove that you know what you're doing, because learning the skill and actually being good takes, not even being good, just learning the skill, learning the basics, and probably be at around the entry level. That takes about six months to a whole year. That's just okay learning. Then after a whole year, you now start. You're already good with the tool. Then you now start being creative, because design has to do with creativity. How far can you think? And there's one thing my tutor then used to tell me. He said, before you jump on any design, you have to feed your eyes with design. We designers, we feed our eyes, we go and look at a whole lot of existing design, and then you design like a thief. You pick one or two ideas from existing, because there's no such thing as existing new design. Sorry, there's no such thing as a new design. Every design you see, it's one or two things, one or two elements is being picked from somewhere else. So it's at the end of the day, it all comes down to interest. But then again, to have interest for this, for me, it was just straight up. I started graphic design, and it has been design all along. It's not a matter of upscaling from graphic design, branding, UI, UX, UI, UX. Now I'm now, like, applying all of this knowledge in the gaming space. For you, it can be different. Maybe you have to try two, three things before you actually see, okay, what this is where I feel I can, do more. This is where I feel I can impact. So I would advise at first, if you don't want to, because I know it can be crazy. Let's say you are buying a course on UI UX, and at the end of the day, maybe it's not your thing. You're buying a course on cybersecurity, and I think cybersecurity, to even get a course and even get a certificate is not even something that's very easy. So, but then again, you can be part of one or two communities. Even in the game space, in the gaming space, there's a lot of, it goes beyond just UI. There are game testers. There are people that test this game before it goes live. There are artists. Do you want to be a 3D artist? Do you want to be creating the environments for games? There's a lot of skill in the gaming space. It's not just UI UX. UI UX is just a branch of it. Because then again, there are a lot of very very important technical skill in game production. You can be a game tester, but then again, you have to understand how game work. You have to have played games. Okay, this is how this vibe should be. This is how the user experience should feel like. You get me? This is how this should be like. Do you want to be in the artistic part of things? Okay, maybe I like 2D more. You can let me be creating characters or environments for 2D games. Well, a developer, okay, you can start from somewhere. DevByte already have a community for this. That they do drop resources, updates. Okay, you can start by learning Unity, learning to build games with Unity, on me or Unreal, depending. But I think I don't know. I'm not a fan of the whole development part of things. I really don't know much about that part, so I can't really say much. But for design, there's a whole lot. It's endless. It's just finding your place, because once you have interest for something, once you're passionate about something, you'd want to put in the work to actually upskill. You'd want to, okay, this is what I'm doing. The How do I even stay relevant? Because let me not say it's a competition, because it's you versus you. How do I stay relevant in this space? What are the steps I should take? So maybe you just maybe have one or two, but then you should look within yourself. What are the things that I'm passionate about? What can I do? Then you now back it up with a technical skill. Okay, I'm a good writer. I haven't forgot to mention there are narrative designers. I'm working with a team currently, and we are building a game, a learning platform similar to Duolingo, but this one has a better and improved version and features as well. You're not just learning language, we are creating an open world experience for you, whereby if you want to learn Yoruba, you are playing in a state like Ogun State and Lagos. So you get to see how people dress, you get to see the food, how they greet, how their houses are being built in the Yoruba land. And it's not just about all the theory part of it, you're making learning fun. And I'm working with a pool of narrative designers, and these are the people that tend to write the storyline. Look at games like GTA, Red Dead. Those games, it's someone that came up with the storyline. If you are good with writing, you can come up with stories, all of that. It does not have to be novel. Trust me, it does not have to be novel at all. You can be a narrative designer. You're writing narratives for game. You can build. I think I recently connected with someone that built his own part of the thing is creating narrative for boss. The way games have bosses. You are playing against the boss and it's very difficult. That's his job. He's going to come up with a narrative about a particular boss. And I think for a game he worked with Blizzard. You guys should know Blizzard now, that created they're part of the developers of Call of Duty. I think Call of Duty Warzone or Black Ops, one of them. He created the narrative for about four bosses. So if you have passion for writing and you feel okay, you want to extend this your writing skill in the gaming niche, you can be a narrative designer. Start working on it. If you're an artist, you can draw. You are very good at drawing. Go into creating environments. Go into drawing, creating characters. And I think for 3D, the tools you get to use are Blender and the rest. If you're an artist, you're good with drawing, buy a course, look for a course, start learning. I think for those artistic part, there's a lot of YouTube videos, tutorials you can play with. So yeah, Austin, I hope I was able to answer your question.
Okay.
Are you,
Um, Oluwatobi, are you? Okon, are you with us?
The fact that sent
Yeah. Um.
sorry, it's breaking.
Okay, let's go with Oluwatobi.
No, yeah, I think Augustine is not done. I didn't hear him correctly. I was asking if I answered his questions.
Okay, go on, Austin.
yes, like I said, the spot on your answer for me centered around the interest, which has been a which has been a major problem for me over time because I have this diversified interest on so many things at the same time. At the end of the day, maybe not being unable to channel the required energy into getting a focus on a particular one. So thank you very much. Your answer was spot on. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Oluwatobi, let's go with you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity. I'm glad to be here. So, I guess mine is more of it's a question, really, really. So the question is, I've been a designer for me now for about 5 years now, and honestly, just like you said, I have searched all through. I've searched like online. I could not get any game resource. So it got to a point that I had to like give up, honestly, because it was not working for me. So I won't mind the resource you mentioned earlier on. If you can drop it in the chat, like you said. I hope you heard me.
So sorry about that.
All right, it's fine.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so I said that I've been a UI UX designer for about 5 years, and like you
Okay.
said, there's no resource out there for game UI UX. Honestly, like I've searched and searched online, Google, YouTube, the resource is just not there to the point that I had to like give up. So when I saw this space, I was quite happy, honestly. So um, resource links you shared earlier, maybe you can help us with it and drop it in the chat so we can actually check it out. I hope that's fine.
So yeah, Olatobi, I heard you. So funny enough, that's that's just one of the struggles we creative, encounter in this space. And like I said, I've even spoken with top persons in this space, like people working for top publishers like EA and the rest. And trust me, there is, in terms of game UI UX, there is limited resources. And so yeah, I'm gonna quickly drop this on the chat, the links to those sites. Yeah, so first one is interface in game.
All right, thanks so much. Thank you.
Yeah, the other one is game UI database. Um, uh, yes, hold on. Yeah, so there's two sides. And yeah, if you're looking at getting for me, starting out and getting game environments and characters, I made use of ArtStation. And like I said, these are artist portfolios. So if you want to make use of it, you have to, you know, give reference to like, okay, I got this from this person. But I think there's an easier way now that I'm exploring. And thank God for technology. You can now make use of AI to create custom made environments. The likes of Mid Journey can make use of Mid Journey. I've not explored um ChatGPT, but yeah, I think with their new feature, the image generator, you should be able to come up with something. But yeah, you can make use of Mid Journey and explore other AI tools I can use in creating environments, characters, and it's really easy. You can even try to manipulate it if you are good with Photoshop. And that's one thing I do a lot. Most of the environments I would want to, tweak it, make it match the maybe art style or the theme for the game. And I'll just make it of what's it called? Photoshop to make my to do my tweaks. So yeah, hope I was able to answer your question.
Oh, yes, yes, you were. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you for that. Do you have any other questions? Any other questions? So, if we don't have any other question, I would advise you all to follow our speaker, connect with him, and also for those who are not in our community, uh, okay, I think some people are requesting. So those that are not in our community, just try to join for follow up. Okay, let me get these guys up. Okay, let's start with Abbas. Abbas, can unmute yourself and ask your question? Yeah, go on. We can hear you.
Um, it's actually a great deal to be here with Design Sensei and everyone. Thanks for the help the other day. My question is, I want to like ask if there is a resource for motion design because I got realized that one of the key things about this game UI design is you could be able to design a script, but if you don't have it just be a screen, there won't be interactions and it will not really be catchy the way it's supposed to be. So, and in YouTube, I won't lie, you can search YouTube and search YouTube, but it's really, really hard. But I heard that okay, there could be a resource for motion design. Maybe it could be a Google Drive file or something, or where someone can go and look out for a motion design course or to become better because I just really want to improve in my game prototyping. And also I realized that game prototype is not like normal apps. Like apps, you can be a UI designer and prototype apps because they are all the same. But for game, if you are not a gamer, it will be very difficult for you to understand how a game prototype, how the interaction should be. The interaction of game UI, it's best known for people that are familiar with gaming. So I know how the prototype should look like, but doing implementing it, it's the problem. So if there is a resource that will help with motion design courses or tutorials, I would really appreciate it. That's all. That's all. All the question I have for now.
Oh, okay. So for motion, I really do not know a lot, but I believe there are a lot of tools you can make use of. And I think recently there's a new tool, Rive. Yeah, Rive. It's like a Figma, and it has cool features in terms of animation and all of that. But the the truth is, at the end of the day, you when it comes to game development, uh, you do not need a lot of prototyping skill, except you just want to, show interaction, maybe for showcase. I'm speaking for myself. Starting out, the jobs I was able to get, gigs in the gaming space, the recruiters or whosoever reaching out, they never really cared about the prototyping part of it. Because at the end of the day, it's your prototype is what matters aside you coming up with the HUDs, the UI, buttons and all of that. It's how well the developer is implementing it. I think what you're worrying about is more like a job for the game dev because take for instance a direction button. Except you're talking about maybe prototyping because it's similar to prototyping for applications. Except just for onboarding screen, menu, and maybe shop inventories, those parts. Yeah, I think those part inventories are the part you would want to do excessive prototyping. But in real sense, in game and the rest, your prototype is more or less useless because the developer is the one coming up with the game mechanics, how the environment reacts to your control, your command, and the rest. So you're not really, you know, you're not really, you don't know have to really worry about prototyping. But then again, I know you want to, upskill and just do more. You can explore Rive. It's a very cool tool. I've gone through it a bit, had a glance, but I've not had the time to actually and master, learn and master this too. So yeah, motion. I really do not have a whole lot to share. I don't have much to share in terms of motion. So yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. Busayo, are you with us? Let's hear from you. Are you with us, Busayo?
Busayo Ayodele. I don't have a question. I just want to add to what Gideon said. If I'm allowed to do that, like I have to, like, am I permitted to do that?
Go on, go on.
Okay, I don't know who asked the question concerning motion design in game UI UX design. So what I would say is there's the static designs which is being done in Figma and all. Like most times in game UI UX design, we get to do the static design in Figma and in Photoshop. In Photoshop, and when it comes to adding the feel, like the animation, the click of buttons and all, that will mostly be done in the engine in order to save time. Like it will be done in the engine, that it's been implemented in the engine, and that could be done by a game UI artist, a technical artist. So most times you might have to like learn how to implement your design in Unreal Engine, which is not necessary. Like it's not important. It's only if you want to okay learn the programming aspect of game UI UX design. That's what I wanted to add. And yeah, you can also like learn tools like Rive. Rive has a, how would I put it? Is it, let me just use the word flow, like a smooth flow where you can move your animated design into Unreal Engine. It has this state machine and all. I've not fully explored it, but it might save one or two, like save time and a whole lot of stress. So that's what I wanted to add from my end. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Kings King Iron.
Yeah, thank you so much, Busayo. Yeah, exactly what I said, because except you want to do moderate in terms of motion and the rest, it has little or no business with Figma or Photoshop, depending on whichever tool you're using. You really do not get to do much because it's a developer that gets to implement all of that. But if you have interest in what was it called, in that part, for me, I do not even fuck with Unreal or importing anything to the engine. I just like focusing on the artistic part, the design part. For implementing, I think Busayo tends to do more of that as well, implementing it into the game engine. But I do not. I have no interest in that. So I'm more focused on the designing part, on the artistic part. But yeah, for motion, and like I mentioned, you can check out Rive. I've not had time to fully explore that, but yeah, so looking at getting your hand dirty and exploring, you can check out Rive, and yeah, also maybe learn how to implement your design from Figma or Photoshop into a game engine.
Okay, thank you so much. King, I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it King Gon? King Gon. Can you can you speak up? Omut. Hello?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
hearing you.
go.
Yeah. I want to ask that, are you guys editing like game or you are doing, what are you guys going to do? Because I'm just in Twitter, I just saw you and just joined. Hello?
Okay, just can you just look at the title of the topic we are discussing, and I think you will catch up with what we are talking about. And also, you can just wait on after the section. The recording will be available, so you can follow up and really get what we are talking about. He was like he doesn't know what we are doing here, so we should explain to him what we are doing here. He just joined from Twitter,
Oh,
so
okay.
let him follow up the recording. I think you get everything. So do you have any other questions? So I hope you guys are following our speaker. Connect with him if you have not done that. I think I have followed everybody on this group. If I have not followed you, you can indicate, so I'll follow you. So make sure you connect with everybody. This is how you get to get to people, know people. These are people you might not randomly just meet online. And even if you meet them online, sometimes they might not respond to you. But you see, we have brought us all together here, and now things are getting much you know come together and work as a team, because most of us started off in this tech field without any community. We all did that all by ourselves, keep learning. By God's grace, we got to where we are. So we are trying to see that people don't go through that stress. That's why communities are very important. That's why you need to follow up, and don't be shy to ask questions. No matter how stupid the question is, always bring it up. You understand? Please, if your mic is on, mute it. Who is that? Uh, I think there's someone who wants to speak. Okay, Web3 UI. Good evening. You're welcome.
Then I always get very scared, like the motions, how did they come about, the gun and all of that. But joining this space just enlightened me a little. Not, I just play around shadows, effects, and all of that to 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 design assets and all of that. But there are kinds of games like some of the ones I've gone through some of our profile and I've seen some portfolios. There are some games that I'll just see and I'm scared, like this somebody hire called as in reached out to me to design monopoly game, something like that. I was scared that I told the person no, that I can't even attempt it. Though I can design assets, game assets, I can design few screens, but I'm always scared. How do I, as in, do the animation, the motions, and all of that? So I want to ask: is there anybody that have a course I could, go through and stay locked in and get a grasp of what this whole game UI UX design in depthly what it entails? Thank you so much.
Okay, so when you say course, do you mean like a course on game UI UX?
Yes, a course on game UI UX, tutorial on game UI UX, or yeah,
Hmm.
something like that.
Well, I think probably you didn't join the space on time. Yeah, like I said, and let me just repeat it. That's one thing we all suffer in the space. There is no tutorial. There is no course, any tech solid tutorial that covers game UI UX design. So it's basically if you're good with UI UX, transitioning would not be a problem. It's just applying same design rule. Not the same rule you are being taught and designing contrast, balancing, typography and all of that. It's the same rule for um game UI UX, but for game UI UX it tends to be you just have to be more artistic, more creative. And I think UI UX design in games gives you the liberty to be very playful and explore. Just do crazy stuff. Basically, you don't have to how do I put it? Unlike for app design, for app there are some rules. that constrain how creative you can be and all. But for gaming, you is how far you can because it's what you think, what you imagine is what you put into your design. That's why I made mention of your eyes. Before you jump on any section, if you want to design a screen or anything, you need to have fed your eyes with a lot of existing designs. That's why I dropped this link. The most you can do is you learn by practicing, replicate existing design. Even if you do not want to replicate it exactly, you can you can go there, look at a menu screen, try to pick one or two elements from the menu screen to come up with your own. Just pick one or two things, come up with yours. So, which in terms of tutorial, of course, ah, so sorry, but there's none. Or, I think we'll be having more sessions like this to throw more light. And me personally, on my page, I do share some, important tips as well on the gaming niche. So, but maybe in the future, I could come up with a course or something. But currently, there's no good course on game UI UX design. So yeah, hope I was able to answer your question.
Like I think she went down from the speaker. So I believe you, you did justice to your question. Web3 UI. I think that's, I don't know your name. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
Abbas has his hand up. Abbas, can go ahead.
Okay. There's this design of design sensei I'm so obsessed with, and so I wanted to like ask Ike and Papa, the mobile game. Can you like walk
Oh,
us through? Can you like walk us through not all entirely, not from beginning to end, but can you like walk us through how you came up with that game, how you generated the characters, how you generated the assets? Can you just walk us through a summary of the design process?
okay. So here's the thing. When I started speaking, I did make sure I break down the different technical skill that's been needed for game production. So here's the thing. I didn't create the character. The character was not created by me. That's the job of a character artist. And to be specific, a 2D character artist. Because the Akan Popo game is a 2D art style. There is a difference between a 2D character artist, a 2D artist, and a 3D artist. And even in the 3D, there's what we call 3D stylized, there is 3D realistic. For 2D, there are some 2D that's very, very detailed and stylized. There is 2D pixelated. I believe you've seen some games that are looking like pixelated. They have their own special artist. So for the character, it has been created by a 2D character artist. Same with the game environment. The game environment was created by an artist. So my job on the project, I created the buttons. Let me even go through the design. I created the buttons. I created the HUDs, the pop-up modal that you see. Yeah, that's the job
Yeah,
of
yeah,
UI UX designer. Like the loading bar, loading thing. I created it.
yeah.
Tap anywhere to start. That's my that's my job. Created it. So every other thing that you see there in terms of artists, in terms of artists, right? That are like 3D or 2D, it's being created by an artist. Sometimes you do not necessarily have to um hire and that. It depends on the kind of game you're working on. I do have um access to some premium assets, some 2D, 3 premium assets that I can use on my design anytime. So maybe sometimes I don't need an artist to create them for me. And as a game UI designer, you need to have some level of illustration skill. Yeah, to be able to know how to work with Illustrator. Because there's some things, some icons that you have to create a stuff that needs to be custom made to fit the game theme. Like this game I worked on Cave World, and the whole theme of the game was to give cavemen vibes, before technology and all of that. So the icons, they were custom made. You have to create them yourself. If you are working with a big gaming company, a big studio, sometimes they have people that's their role. They are the ones to create those things, to create icons. That's their job, just to create icons on games. But sometimes you might be working with a slim team that okay, technical hands are not that much, and as a designer, you get to wear many hats. You have to touch this. So in some cases, you get to create them yourself or look for online. If you are lucky, you find icon that fits the game theme, good for you. But if you can't, but then again, you have to make the game, look not just look good, but usable as well. You have to create some of those things yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. So that you have to understand your role on a project when you're. That's why you have to communicate with the client. Client need okay, what are the things I'm going to do? So naturally, as a game area designer, your job is to create HUDs, menu, modal, buttons, pop up, and the rest. In some cases, icons. Every other thing they have to be provided by a 2D or 3D artist, and
Okay.
that's a
Okay.
compulsory. That's compulsory. Getting a because it's far from your niche. It's far from game UI UX, 3D assets, and the rest. That's not your job. Yeah, so Web3 UI, you want to say something?
No, 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 sir. No, no, sir. I wanted to reply that I understood all you said, and also what you're trying to say is that all of the asset like the 3D design, we are not the one to do all of those things, right?
No, 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 no. It's
And
not for
and
you to do.
also okay, and also there are some assets I did. I saw them on YouTube and I just followed the tutorial, and I think some of the 3D they got them through shadows, effect, and all of that. So basically, when it comes to game design, we should just learn how to make use of shadows and effects.
Okay.
That
When you say 3D assets, these are what I mean by 3D assets. I wish I could share my screen or something. Well, like, okay, let's use a game like Call of Duty, for example. Let's use a game like Call of Duty, for example. Call of Duty, you see the guns they have, those are 3D assets. That's not your job. Your job is not to create the guns or create melee weapons or all of that or create characters. That's what I mean by 3D assets. Those shadow and the rest, in as much as they look like they have a 3D dimension, in gaming terms, In game production, those are not 3D assets. Those are just that's your depend on do you want to add shadow to a button or whatsoever. Or what kind of feel do you want to give to this button? Do you want it to be flat? Those are not 3D assets. 3D assets are the ones that you see in the in game. Like I said, let's use Call of Duty for as a reference. The guns they have there, they are 3D. That's the 3D assets, 3D in-game assets. Melee weapons, all of those things, vehicles, snowboards, and the rest. Those are 3D assets. Characters, those are 3D assets, 3D characters. The environment itself is an asset, it's an in-game asset, in-game environment, not your buttons and the rest. Those ones, that's your job as a game UI designer. It's your job to. Okay, I think you probably. I need to list out like the things you have to do as a game because you are the one to create the HUDs. You are the one to create menu screen. You are the one to create the inventory. That's more like the shop. Okay, where you get to customize. Let's say for games that require you to customize character or whatsoever. That section is your job for you to create it. That's your job. But you see those 3D things, characters and the rest, it's not your job. But then again, sometimes maybe some in-game little assets that you need. So most times I always request for assets. Yeah, as a designer, a game working on a project, if there are some specific assets, in-game assets you need, you can always request for it from the artist. And that's why communication is very important when you're working on a game project, communicating with the developer and the artist on the project. You have to be, constantly because I think one of the person that I do work with is Valentine. Valentine is C4. I think a couple of us again knows him. He's the one that always creates my assets for me. Whenever I have a gig or whatsoever, a gig, a project, he's the first person I reach out to. He works with me like a generalist. He creates environment. The only thing he does not create is character. So you can request for okay, I want this is what I want to do for this session. You request if you're working with a team, request it from the 3D artist or the 2D artist. It's not your job as a game. Yeah, it's more like let's say you are building a website and images you need. They need custom images. It's not your job for you to come up with those images. If it's a company that they have get to create custom images, they provide that for you. It's not your job to go and start taking photographs. I'm just speaking on from for some certain projects. So yeah, hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the pleasure is mine.
Thank you guys. I'm so happy for this section, and I'm also happy that a lot of people get to, you know, clear up their long challenges. You understand? This is why all these things are very important. This community. I think Web3 now you will not be scared of collecting jobs again. So it's see the importance of community, joining community, and being part of a community. So and also those that are scared of building those character, because I know even me, I was like initially I was like thinking that as a UI UX person, you really want to create those characters, but you can see now it has been cleared up. So you're not the one to do the 3D characters and co. So it's making a lot of sense now. So that's just the eye opener. You see that the job is even much easier than we thought it would be. You understand? So I want to thank you guys for being part of this section. You understand? I'm very happy. Our time have exhausted. We're supposed to end by 9:30, which is 9:35. So I want to still give our host one more minute to, if there's any other thing you have to say before I close for today.
Yeah, from my end, I really do not have much to share again. And yeah, once again, thank you, DevBytes, for the opportunity to speak. So the thing is, it's if you're looking at getting a career, I'm gonna say it again. You just have to look beyond money, look beyond the money, put in the work, just become offers will come, people reach out to you, connect more with developers because I think a lot of people do get it. Yeah, you can connect to designers as well to like for resources and all. But for in terms of job, you might not really necessarily be looking at that direction because the designer himself needs job, needs money. Connect to game dev, and I have a lot of game developers that if they have a project that the project they don't have a designer, I'm the first person they recommend to work on it. And this is over time we've built projects, we've worked on solid products. So all of these are things that would come in with time. Do not chase money. I do tell people. So just focus on improving. Focus, just put your head down, put in the work, do the sleepless nights, research, read, connect with people ahead of you in the space. Okay, this person is doing something that you have interest in, is more experienced than you. Connect to the person, connect with the person, reach out, ask questions, post your work. Don't have the imposter syndrome or I'm not good enough for this. There's the importance of not being good enough. The not let me not use the word being good enough. The importance of imperfection is for growth. Something needs to be imperfect for growth to take place. So you shouldn't be scared of posting out your work, or you just document your journey, post it online. Okay, yes, I want to go into game UI design. This is the first thing I want to work on. Okay, starting out, I want to try and design a a loading screen for uh a console RPG game, a console action game. Okay, I want to work on an just be posting it. Do not, as you're posting, be asking for feedback. Do not post as if you know it all. Even as in as much as a lot of persons still respect me, reach out to me and all like do this, seek advice. I still have people I reach out to. I have people outside of Nigeria, outside of Africa. I have top persons working at EA, working at Riot, working at Blizzard. There was a game that I worked on the design. I thought I nailed everything. Like the team found guy for my pixel perfect. And I showed to this person and person like, yeah, overall it looks good. But then again, pointed some things that I needed to work on and gave some suggestion that will make it better, look better. And this was because I was humble. I was humble enough to even share with this person and I said, okay, what do you think about the design of it? It was a full blown like UI presentation, more like a mini case study. And I just shared it with this person. The person, and I made took the person's advice. So do not think you've arrived or you know it all. Always be open to learning new things. Because anybody more successful than you in anything in any space knows more than you, has access to more information more than you. So yeah, do not be afraid to post. Do not be afraid to reach out to someone. Yeah, like I said, my DM is open. You can reach out to me. But yeah, so most times I'm always busy. I might not be able to respond on that. But the moment I see your message and it's in terms of requesting for maybe direction or aids and design or whatsoever, I'm always happy to always share. from the little knowledge I have as a way of, me giving back to society. Because at the end of the day, I'm not all for myself. I'm always high on impact, high on, giving back to people. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything.
Thank you so much, Gideon. We really, really appreciate you for coming on our live section today. On behalf of the DevByte team, we want to appreciate you. I want to thank you so much for all the knowledge you have given us this night. And for those that are not part of DevByte community, I think I shared the link on the comment section. You can just go there and join the community. I think we have the number eight group is active, and I'm still looking for a way we can just bring everybody under one umbrella. Maybe just one group, uh, maybe one group or a channel. I don't know how we're going to do it, but then we'll still figure that out so that we'll just have one place all of us are sharing information and all that. So thank you guys for those who join us newly just from Twitter, those who are part of our community. I want to appreciate everybody, and I don't want to say I believe. I know that we were impacted tonight because I got a lot of eye opener today. And I believe you all too did well. So please make sure you follow our speaker, connect with him, then also join our community. And like I said, I'm going to look. I think we have a group on UI UX. So probably I'm going to send the link to you if that's okay with you, Gideon. So you can be there in case people want to ask questions in the group. They can ask you instead of reaching out to you personally. They can just drop the message on the group so that it will be a collective response and all that. I think that will be better. So thank you guys. I think that will be all for tonight. I really want to appreciate everybody. So do have a very good night rest and always add to the community. This is just like Gideon just said. What we are doing here is we trying to add to the community. It's not as if we are gaining any special thing from this, but the joy of we trying to help, that's the whole thing. So the essence of the community is to give back to the to society, to help other people. Some of us, when we went into tech, it was crazy for us. Like me, I started writing code using exercise book, because during my time, getting a laptop was like buying a Lamborghini. So, but I think things are more affordable these days. You understand? It's even common to get that. So my journey started 2009. So it's been long. So having a laptop that time was crazy. So you can imagine. So that's why we are doing all these things to make sure that people that are going to tech do not go through the kind of stress we went through. It was crazy. And some of us, it took us like 3 years, 4 years to even get doing something. So once a situation where people can just get started within 1 year, 2 years, you're already there. You understand? If you are very, very serious, you get. So this is why we are doing it. So you can see now most of you have already understood the whole thing about the design, the game design, and it's not nothing to be scared about. You understand? So this is what this. So and also we are open to those who want to be speaker. Maybe you have something you want to share. You can reach out to me. Feel free. And so it's all about helping. If there's something you feel like very well that you know that people want to learn about, just reach out and I'll we schedule a section for you. You come there and uh, dish out your knowledge and all that. So thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys. So that will be all for tonight. And make sure you stay connected and always, find way to add more value to yourself. Good night, everybody. Thank you, Gideon. Good night, everybody. Good night, good night, good night, good night.
Good night. Good night.
Thank you so much.